Taking us back to coaching this group, early years looked kind of rough, but with DYSports helping us out, John and Anthony were really good with me, connecting with them, let them know I was a first-time coach, first time getting all these boys together. So we've been working on a lot of developmental things, and DY has really helped out with that. I brought the boys into DY around 7th grade, and the reason why DY was a good fit is that all the other organizations, they're already pretty known and pretty big. So me putting together a bunch of kids from Kent and just getting a different group of kids together was them not knowing if they were able to play together as a team. And it was just a new team putting a bunch of kids together and seeing what we can do. And DY was a great start for that. I say playing against teams that are more at our level was best, so that's why it was good to start out in DY. So if you have a team that you're just getting started and everyone doesn't really know each other, you don't want to go to a tournament and get blown out by 20, 30, 40, 50 points. And, I go with, I play 5, but I always play 10. It doesn't matter if we're up 10, 12, we're still gonna get everyone in the game. You go to another organization, yeah, you might pay, but you might not even play in the game. So, with DY, it's just more fun for the kids to enjoy themselves playing what they like to do. I would say DY helped my team a lot with being a team, because everything starts with team. If you're not together as a team, it won't work. And the DY family has been great to us. Whenever they do invite us out, we always enjoy it, we always have fun. I think I probably got over 20-something first place medals from DY, so it's been fun, and having personal relationships with John and Anthony, really help out a lot too. They've been great helping me out with everything and getting me started. Since I am a new coach, it's only been a few years, and now, we graduated to become a circuit team now too, so that's pretty big. Well, I wanted to become a coach personally because I played basketball my whole life pretty much, and my son was the reason why. He kept saying, Dad, we don't have a coach, will you coach? And I've known a lot of the kids since elementary school, so it's cool being with them from elementary to high school, and being a mentor to them and a coach at the same time. But it's more of a family with Kent Elite than a basketball organization, I would say. Yeah, looking back, it did help a lot starting out with DY from the beginning, 4 years ago, to where now, we're a circuit team. Whenever we do come back to play DY, it's for other teams that we do play against to get better. Sometimes we might lose a game or two, but normally we don't do that. But, it all comes with it, and it's just been a real big learning experience for the kids. Because most kids won't make it, somewhere else on a bigger circuit team than, playing for DY. So, it worked having DY, and they're great with everything they do. When I look back at my players, I would say the development in the team and in individual players as well. When you have a basketball team, yes, you can have 1 or 2 great players, but you still need the others to step up too. So you can have 5 starters and you might have 6 on the bench, but if 3 of those starters aren't there, you got to put 3 of those bench players in. What can they do when they get in the game? So everyone has to play together, and it's all about team with me, basically. Where youth basketball gets wrong with player development, I would say a lot of kids just want to play on the name, the name that everyone, oh, I got a backpack that says this on it. But it's like, well, when you do play for that team, are you actually playing? Are you enjoying playing for that team? Is it fun? You know, do you guys do activities outside of basketball? Do the kids hang out together? So, you know, it's up to the coach mainly to, you know, get the kids together outside of basketball and have them connect with everyone. And when you get on the court, they gel better. You can see it. You know, they're into it a little bit more, and it's more intense, as you saw in this last game that we just had. You know, down 15 and, you know, come back to lose by 2, I think. So, you know, it's just a fight. You know, we gave up way too many threes, but, you know, we gotta live with it. You know, there is tomorrow. I never really get on the kids when we are behind, because I know that we can always come back and win, just because that's how much faith I have in my team, and it doesn't matter who we're playing. And the boys fight for each other when they are out there. Once they get going, as you saw, it was a complete 360 from, you know, what they did in the third quarter to the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. So it's just with them, it gets real hectic when they get to bickering amongst themselves. So once they go at each other, then it kind of, you know, everything kind of starts frailing, you know, but once they stick together, then, you know, it's like glue. And, you know, that ball gets to moving and everybody's happy. Yeah, they were disappointed after the loss. And what I had to tell them is, you know, they know what they do wrong. They know how they beat themselves. We're a team that gives up way too many threes. That's because our guards are already trying to leak out for a fast break for a layup. So we know what we got to do, what we have to tighten up, and, you know, they'll come back tomorrow and play even a lot better. The first game we won by, I think, 12. This game, to me, they just started off kind of sluggish, and they played Tacoma Swish's game instead of playing our game. The things I find valuable about a loss is how your team bounces back the next day. You know, if they come in and they're still talking about that last game, then it might spill over into that game. But if they come back in, okay, yeah, let's get this, and it's a different kind of feel, then, you know, we'll be back at it. I would say the right environment for player development will have to start with yourself, I would say, the coach. You know, as a person, you know, is he, you know, a person that has feeling, or is he a person that just coaches strictly, this is just what it's gonna be, this is it, you're not playing, you're gonna sit, you know, like that. That's not gonna work. So I would say you just gotta, you know, love what you're doing and, you know, enjoy it. You know, you gotta, you know, have fun doing it. If you don't have fun doing it, there's no point of, you know, actually coaching, I guess. That's what I would say. How I control myself when the game's going in an unfair direction. I say, with me having my son play on the team with me, he's kind of like the coach on the floor. So when I don't really have much to go with, hey, you guys figure it out. You know, I'm not out there, so you guys need to figure this out, and he'll step up and, you know, take that role as coach on the floor for me. So it works out. You know, a lot of people say, how can you coach your son, and, you know, isn't that hard? And yeah, it's a little bit hard because, you know, if we get in that argument at home, then it might spill over to, you know, basketball, right? So you just gotta, you know, have barriers with it, I would say. Well, I would say my whole bench has improved immaculately. They've all gotten better, shooting, rebounding, just all around basketball. Like a couple of them came in, you know, they were kind of fresh with it. They didn't really know, you know, how to play when the game is fast. So it was like we had to slow it down for them. You know, and it's just you'll take one or two of the players off to the side and say, okay, we're just gonna work on post. You're gonna make 50 layups on the right, 50 on the left. You know, something like that. Okay, you're a jump shooter, you're gonna go over here and shoot 20 free throws. You know, just little simple things. And, you know, everybody should develop after a while, but if they don't, then, you know, they're not putting enough work outside of, you know, practice. I would say for us, it has to be our defense is the highlight. So either it's might be a little shimmy move, or, you know, a aggressive rebound by one of the smallest guys on the team. You know, little things like that sparks them guys to just get going, you know, and I love it to see when, you know, their engines are revving and they're doing their thing. Yeah, you know, I try to keep it, you know, rated PG, but, you know, sometimes you have to be stern with these kids, because the kids nowadays are totally different from the era of kids I grew up with. Like now, everything is fast, you know. If you don't know how to use an iPhone, a tablet, you're behind. So now the kids, their brains are already, you know, 10, 15 years ahead, but they're still only 15, 16 years old, to where they don't know how to control their emotions, their anger. Oh, the ref is doing his job, you know, so you can't get mad at him, just calm down and relax. You did foul him. Yeah, it was a foul. You know, I'll talk to him like that and let him know, yeah, you fouled him. Next time, don't foul. You know, so it's just simple things that, you know, they pick up. And with me playing basketball, you know, I kind of got an advantage, I guess, just because I know the game so well, and I try to give them pieces of it, you know, to mesh with, you know, their game too.